Prior to the arrival of Spanish colonizers, South America was inhabited by dispersed groups of nomadic people who congregated around the Amazon River. As a result, the rainforest in the area was unspoiled and untouched. Or was it? The lost cave world of the Amazon's Tepuy highlands has yielded some fascinating finds, and today we'll be taking a look at them. The Tepuy, gigantic tabletop mountains of South America that we've been discussing are true troves of discoveries. The Penman people, the indigenous people who live in the Great Savannah, give these massive flat mountain ranges their name, Tepuy, which means home of the gods in their language. The strange and massive mountains have long been a mystery, but today scientists are penetrating their icy exteriors, uncovering a whole new world. Francesco Saro, an Italian speleologist from the University of Bologna, has conducted many expeditions to the area to discover more about the region's spectacular ancient mountains. A 40-day excursion inside the Tepuy cave system was completed by Saro and his team in January 2022. It's not only difficult to go to these Tepuy on your own, but the caverns within them may be the last ones left on Earth that haven't been thoroughly investigated. Imawariyata, a Tepuy in Venezuela, was the team's primary focus. The cave system is the greatest known example of its sort, with at least 22 kilometers or 13.6 miles of tunnels beneath the surface. Seeing the cave systems in person is enough to make you gasp for air, even if you've already been awed by everything else. The caverns are an incredible natural wonder, appearing almost otherworldly. The material in the cave streams colors the water red, and the walls of the caverns are usually a pale shade of pink. They're from another planet altogether. Saro, who has actually been within the caves, can attest to this as well. First of all, the stalactites and stalagmites in the Tepuy are just breathtaking examples of speleothems. Scientists have yet to determine what caused their unusual flaring forms. Many enigmatic geological features, such as those formed by microorganisms, are unique to quartz caves. These Tepuy are so completely insulated that they basically create an isolated organic petri dish, which scientists can then study and analyze in great detail. In reality, it wasn't until 2012 that Saro and company found microorganisms in blind cavefish, in addition to the mineral rosy antimonite. Since so little is known about the age of these caves, which might be tens of millions of years, Saro and his colleagues have started planning future missions to investigate. Intriguing geoglyphs provide evidence of a once thriving population in the Amazon. The pre-Columbian Amazon, often believed to be an unspoiled Eden, may have been populated by millions. Many people believed until quite recently that the Amazon was an unspoiled paradise inhabited by little more than a few isolated tribes of nomads who relied on the Amazon River for their survival. Recent evidence from Brazil's Matagorda state provides an alternative narrative. It turns out that millions of people living in sprawling settlements might have once called the rainforest home. And because of the region's extensive forest cover, archaeologists trying to learn more about Amazonian life from the river and its riches have long faced significant obstacles. Geoglyphs, ancient geometric ground patterns carved by people out of earth stone and low-relief mounds, were discovered by teams using satellite images. They were likely created as part of a ritual for the gods, particularly during times of drought. When the team got the geoglyphs in hand, they were able to travel to the precise places to see if any traces of past civilizations were still there. They were ecstatic to discover evidence of human habitation in all 24 of the locations they explored. They discovered ancient ceramics there, dated to around 1410 AD, and then utilized this information to anticipate the locations of other prospective sites, determining that there are probably 1,300 villagers and geoglyphs in the 154,000 square mile area of southern Amazonia. Around two-thirds of them haven't been located yet. The study group has come to the conclusion that between 500,000 and a million people formerly occupied just 7% of the Amazon basin. Well, until the study, it was thought that no more than 2 million people had ever lived in the whole basin. Between 1200 and 1500 AD, when these villages were at their peak, they may have extended over a distance of over 1,100 miles of interconnected settlements. It would appear that the Amazon still has more discoveries to offer. Antarctic experts allege that thousands of enigmatic blue lakes have developed in the continent's eastern region. Scientists are growing increasingly concerned about the rapid appearance of these lakes on the snowy sheets of the continent. Yet, Greenland has had these lakes before, not just between 2011 and 2014. Comparable lakes were formed on the ice sheets of the country, leading to an astounding trillion tons of lost ice that melted into thousands of lakes around the country. The eastern Antarctic land main glacier has been the focus of meteorological imagery and analysis by a group of scientists. It was found that 8,000 new lakes formed between 2000 and 2013. Nevertheless, in just the past 13 years, a vast number of these ice lakes have appeared in eastern Antarctica. There are several lakes like this, and many of them are considered superglacial or meltwater lakes. That's concerning because it indicates they're sucking water out of the floating ice below them, which might throw off the ice shelf's delicate water-to-ice equilibrium. The most alarming aspect of this finding is the realization that scientists have been ignoring eastern Antarctica in favor of the much weaker and more heat-vulnerable Antarctic Peninsula, which they'd assumed was doing fine with the rising ocean temperatures. This demonstrates how little we understand superglacial lakes and their potential consequences for the frozen continent. Now, on the ice, there are lakes that have been mapped out. Greenland's melting ice sheets are a sobering reminder that these lakes are not eternal. They melt away and sometimes refreeze, which is a blessing. However, when they overflow into the surface rivers, the results can be disastrous. The melting ice and subsequent rise in sea levels are accelerated by these lakes. In the summers of 2012 and 2013, the evidence of climate change is becoming more and more indisputable, especially near Langhoff's Glacier. The number of new lakes formed increased by a terrifying 36%. Thankfully, we haven't reached the end of the road just yet. But if we keep going in this direction, there will be 1,000 more problems down the road. Increasing numbers of superglacial lakes can be attributed to 2016 being the warmest summer ever recorded in Antarctica. According to Jameson, the lakes are probably not big enough to do anything at the present time. The 7 footprints are the earliest tangible proof of Homo sapiens in the Arabian Peninsula. In the fall of 2020, archaeologists made a groundbreaking discovery that shed new light on ancient human migration patterns and daily rituals. Human footprints were discovered in Saudi Arabia's Nafut Desert, near the site of a dried-up lake. Scientists think this indicates that people were at the lake over 100,000 years ago, albeit for a very brief period of time. Sediment in this region has been radiometrically dated to be between 112,000 and 121,000 years old, based on studies of the local geology. If this dating is correct, then these 7 human footprints are the oldest evidence of existence of early Homo sapiens on the Arabian Peninsula. Scientists from the Max Planck Institute for Chemical Ecology in Jena, Germany, including biologist Matthew Stewart, have indicated that the Alithar site was likely used by ancient Homo sapiens as a watering hole. The proximity of grasslands make this an ideal location for foraging. Although studies of the lake sediment suggest the lake shrank along with others in the vicinity during this time, many people doubt that this was a recurring visit. The absence of many artifacts like weapons and animal bones suggest a brief stay. There are 107 camel footprints and 43 elephant footprints identified at sites with similar characteristics. In terms of scientific significance and the possibility of future research, however, nothing beats the discovery of human footprints.